Hello and welcome to the Czech Republic. We're in the western part of this country of 10 million, and the centre of the region is the city of Pilsen. Including its suburbs, this western Bohemian metropolis has a population of 300,000. Pilsen can boast interesting architecture and a distinctive cultural life. It is also the region's industrial centre. About 30 minutes drive south of Pilsen is the small town of Nepomuk, birthplace of the famous St. John of Nepomuk. The town, with a population of 4,000, is also a popular tourist destination. The West Bohemia region is probably best known for its production of the traditional Czech beverage, beer. Pilsner Urquell has been brewed in Pilsen for over 170 years, and this beer is one of the most famous Czech brands of all. At the weekend, West Bohemia also became famous for another totally different reason. A year after the last event, the Sidecarcross World Championship returned to the famous circuit in Kramolin near Nepomuk. This was the third round of this year's World Championship, and we'll tell you all about it in this programme. Knuckle down and have fun. Well, before we head to Kramolin, let's go back a week when the world elite of Sidecarcross fought for championship points in the Ukraine. The race in Chernovice brought many dramatic moments and exciting battles, mainly between Valentin Giroux from France and Daniel Williamson from the Netherlands. The speed of Valentin Giroux and his passenger Elvis Mucinex was particularly impressive, whilst multiple world champion Daniel Williamson put in another composed performance. The wildest moment in race 2 came from world championship leaders Etienne Bax from the Netherlands and his French passenger Nicolas Mousset. Well, even the breakneck fall didn't stop the Bax-Mousset pair, and the 82 sidecar finished race 2 in the Ukraine in first place, picking up 25 championship points. Race 1 was won by Daniel Williamson and Robbie Bax. Because they finished in third in race 2, it was they who were the overall winners of the Ukraine Grand Prix. Valentin Giroux came in second, which is also his position in the championship standings, and after the race in Chernovice, Etienne Bax and Nicolas Mousset had a 3-point lead at the top, with Stuart Brown in third. As soon as the action had finished in the Ukraine, the Sidecarcross family packed up and moved about 1,250 kilometers westwards to Kramolin in the Czech Republic. An incredibly fast track, which no doubt will get the crew's adrenaline flowing, awaited the competitors. The first few races of the season indicated who was in form this year and who were the favourites for the World Championship title. 3 out of the 4 championship heats were won by Etienne Bax and Nicolas Mousset, so they head the standings.
At the moment we are first position, we are happy with that, but it's only 3 points, and after one race it can be completely changed. So we need to stay focused and we need to keep working, and hopefully at the end of the season it will pay off. But at the moment, there's nothing to say. You know, it's all close racing, and it's good because for the people, for the crowd, it's nice. But it gives some stress moments. Yeah.
Only 3 points behind Bax in the standings is Valentin Giroux of France, and he too is enjoying a good start to the season.
I'm not so satisfied about my time. We did second time. We can think it's not so bad, but I'm sure I can do much better than what I did today. But I have good feeling with the chassis. I have good feeling with the suspension. A good feeling with the track. But we just get some problem with the engine. The power is not like it was before, and we don't fix the problem already yet. Then I think I can do much better, but we must work on the problem, and I hope it can be fixed for the race, because here the track is the power is really important. The start is 98% of the race, then we cannot lose that.
Consistently strong performances this year have been put in by the experienced Brits Stuart Brown and Joe Millard, who are in third place in the standings after 2 races.
Again, we take every race as it comes, hopefully keep finishing and be reliable. But yeah, the track today is really fast, high speed. The same as any other track. I need a good start, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. In the past, it's been very good. Like I say, high speed. The jumps are all good, but the track is that fast. Everybody in the field is fast, whereas it's not so technical, but and a high speed. Yeah. But this year it's a little bit wet, the track, so obviously the corners have the berms in, and the track's getting a little bit rougher, so maybe it'll turn out a different race than previous years.
With this year's championship contenders all looking forward to the 3rd round of the season, it's the 2nd time in a row on a hard surface. Well, it was meant to be the 2nd race in a row on a hard surface, but as you can see, in Kramolin, things got quite soft just before the start of the 1st round of qualification. Well, because of this, it meant it was more important to get off to a good start than usual, and it was the 82 sidecar of Etienne Bax, starting from the inside position, who got off to the best start. 2nd place was taken by Belgium's Davy Sanders and Edouard Soyens, with Koen Hermans and Kenny van Harlen from the Netherlands in 3rd. Well, because of the track conditions and the very muddy surface, it was a massive advantage to drive at the front. Because of their clear view, it's the leading crew that get the best of the conditions. Second place crew getting a hefty dose of mud from the rear wheels of the leading pair. And here's how Brits Stuart Brown and Joe Millard fought their way into 3rd place. And the next straight there was another change in order when Stuart Brown was literally leapfrogged by the youngster Koen Hermans. The race was still led by Etienne Bax and Nicolas Mousset, but behind them a tough fight was on for every metre of this demanding track. Koen Hermans doesn't have a lot of experience with driving on hard surfaces, but he's showing that even this surface won't be a problem for him in the future. In this qualification round, Hermans and Van Harlen coped with the experienced Brown and Millard well. Etienne Bax and Nicolas Mousset were then able to convert their advantage into a safe lead, cementing their really good start to this season. Hermans and Van Harlen were 2nd, with Brown and Millard on their own in 3rd. 4th place was taken by the Belgian-Latvian pair of Christophe Santemans and Loris Dieders. And as you can see from this footage, their position wasn't directly threatened either. After a good start, Davy Sanders and Edouard Soyens dropped from 2nd to 5th. And it wasn't long before even the spectators weren't sure who they were following in this mud bath. Both the crews and their sidecars were literally coated in mud, which in several cases also affected the equipment. A thick layer of heavy mud's never good for a racing vehicle, and sidecars are no exception. Nonetheless, Etienne Bax and Nicolas Mousset's WSP vehicle with the 2-stroke Zabel engine didn't have any of that sort of trouble and headed for victory in the 1st round of qualification. 2nd place was deservedly taken by Koen Hermans and Kenny van Harlen with their VMC vehicle, with Stuart Brown and Joe Millard in 3rd place in this very muddy opener. Difficult conditions meant that we weren't treated to the close racing that we're accustomed to. Nevertheless, the first 12 crews qualified from this round to the main race on Sunday. Every race in the Sidecarcross World Championship is attended by the FIM Technical Commissioner, the Estonian Alan Lorimai. One of his responsibilities is to measure the noise levels.
The sound measuring is like a approach and cooperation with environmental organizations to reduce the overall noise level at GPs. Basically, in former times, the riders had a very wrong opinion that as more you have noise, there is more torque or more power of the engine, but that's not true. Finally, the designers and techniques, they are creating every day new technologies, and they know that sound levels need to be reduced. FIM had like a program, Green Ride program, which is the green thinking, and the main point of it is reducing of the overall sound level at the events.
Well, thanks to modern technology, noise measurement is precise and spot checks are performed constantly.
Okay. Okay.
Time to get back to the action. It's time for qualification round number 2, which featured another 25 crews. In this second qualification race, it was the Belgian Marvin van Lucien who made another one of his stunning starts. Just after the start, the Belgian-German crew of Andreas Kloisch and Anders Haller had a fall, and this incident at the first bend held up another 2 pairs. But Kloisch and Haller carried on. Van Lucien and his Latvian passenger Harold Kumpinex were at the front, with Daniel Williamson and Robbie Bax in second and Valentin Giroux and Elvis Mucinex in third. As you can see, it didn't take long before Daniel Williams got ahead of Van Lucien. Giroux and Mucinex were still in third, with Dijkens and Rosling behind, and they are under attack from Gert van Verven and Steve van der Putten. It wasn't long before the 10-time world champion Dutchman Daniel Williamson and his passenger Robbie Bax hit the front. Van Lucien and Kerpinax were then under threat from Giroux and Mucinex, and that attack was successful. Giroux from France moved into second. Valentin Giroux already knows what it's like to win a Grand Prix in Kramolin after his victory here last year. This year too, he was among the fastest. But Williamson and Bax also like this fast track. The winners of the previous round in the Ukraine challenge for the top positions in the Czech Republic too. Interestingly, Williamson uses a 2-stroke engine and Valentin Giroux a 4-stroke engine. However, this time Giroux's AMS engine didn't quite work the way he'd hoped. After the rain had broken up the Kramolin track quite a bit, deep tyre tracks were developing at the start of the home straight in particular. Some crews had a problem getting up this hill. But this problem did not affect the lead crews, who in this race indisputably included Gert van Verven and Arnie Dickens. Well, they finished in 4th and 5th place, respectively. During this qualification round, leaders Williamson and Bax lapped several of their opponents, as did Valentin Giroux and Elvis Mucinex. The latter was still in second and created a decent lead over 3rd placed Van Lucien and Kerpinax. The 5th-7th place was between Andreas Kloisch and Anders Haller and the Chermak brothers. The home crew with the 5 plate on their sidecar in the end were the latter pair, but they were loudly supported by the majority of the crowd. Despite Giroux and Mucinex's stellar progress in Kramolin, it wasn't enough for victory in this qualification round. Well, this track is highly demanding for sidecar engines, and as we said, Giroux's engine wasn't working as the rider had hoped. So Daniel Williamson and Robbie Bax won the first qualification round with something to spare, finishing nearly half a minute ahead of second place Giroux and Mucinex. Third place Marvin Van Lucien and Harold Kerpenex were more than 30 seconds behind, and the 12 qualifiers were completed by the Russian-French duo of Rodionov and Chopin. So the 24 fastest crews advanced directly from qualification, and 26 pairs completed the so-called last chance for the last 6 places. This phase of the weekend is always very exciting, despite not following the classic race format. Crews have 30 minutes to run as fast a lap as possible, and then they hope that they'll have one of the 6 best times. Like for example, the Belgians Peter Steigmans and his passenger Dagbin Sabe. The qualifiers also included the Italian Zeno Compilati and Lemuel Rivera, with Jan Vischer and Alfonso Eggers also qualifying for Sunday's race. Well, here's the complete list of 6 crews who took their last chance and battled through to the main race on Sunday for championship points. Sidecarcross is a sport in which the route to success is reliant on a perfect relationship between rider and his passenger. The lay public often most praises and prefers the men sitting behind the sidecar handlebars, but that's unfair towards their passengers, whose part in the success or failure of a crew is considerable.
The role of the passenger is to keep the balance on the sidecar with the jumps in the corners. Put your weight in the corners that the driver can handle all the stuff. So it's like 50-50 of the steering from the sidecar.
Where you can give your driver the most confidence is the most important thing. It doesn't mean you have to be the best passenger. You just have to give the most confidence. Then I think the driver gets the best out of himself and of the bike.
Being a passenger in Sidecarcross requires, amongst other things, outstanding fitness levels.
Sport became so much more professional, faster. Everybody is fitter. You know, like years before, much riders became tired or passengers, but now it's not anymore. Like top 10 passengers, I think they are top shape.
I try to do different training every day. So I do CrossFit training, which is a bit of weight, and then I do a lot of cardio and endurance training. So cycling, rowing, swimming, and I keep that up all the way until the first Grand Prix. And then when I start racing again, I slow that down to maybe 3 times a week.
Interestingly, not everyone agrees on what the relationship between a rider and passenger should be like.
With me and Brett, we have a good friendship. I've known Brett for the whole time I've been racing sidecars now. I think he started in 2011 at his first Grand Prix. So I don't live too far from Brett. We have a good friendship off the bike. We spend a bit of time together. We don't get a chance to train together. We make the most of the time we do have together to keep the team fun.
In my eyes, I never have been like huge friend with the rider. You know, like we do the job. We can have some fun during the week. We can go out or do some sport together. But you stay so much with the rider and with the team together that when you go back home, you want to be home. For me, it's like that. And for my riders with who I race with before, they are the same.
Apart from outstanding fitness, being a passenger in this sport also requires considerable bravery, and often it hurts a lot.
The biggest problem is you're always fighting an injury. I think with passengers, always there's any passenger that you speak to always has an injury. So you find it hard to keep fit with the balance of an injury. So by the time you get to the end of the season, then your body is finished.
Is it dangerous? Yeah. There are a lot of dangerous spots. Eh? It's a choice you make, and yeah, as a passenger, you don't have the steer in your own hands. You must trust the driver. But normally, yeah, if you do your own job good, then you're responsible for your own.
I have been injured quite a bit, but the biggest injuries I have always with my motocross solo bike when I practice.
The passenger is, to put it simply, an integral part of a crew, and his work in a sidecar is incredibly important. And when everything works together 100% and you have a bit of luck, you can celebrate at the end. Which crew will be celebrating victory in the third round of the World Championship? This will be decided after the 2 Sunday races, and it's this phase of the contest in Kramolin that we'll look at now. A total of 52 crews were registered for the race, but of course only the 30 best crews from the qualification would start the main race on Sunday. None of the favourites faltered, and all the title contenders qualified, and these naturally included Daniel Williamson.
We did find some good things on the engine and the speed and power, and actually on this track there comes out everything. And so, especially on this track, the engine is very fast, and but we have to do the work ourselves, and for that of course. But we feel comfortable and we feel be sure. So we're looking forward to the end of the day.
In Kramolin, the young Dutchman Koen Hermans, who had a great run in training and has done well in qualification too, was also right up.
Yeah, it was a really good day yesterday, and we did have a first place in the qualification for the time, and the qualification race we took second place behind Bucks, and yeah, that was a really good feeling. I think it will be a really close race. I hope we will have a good start, and then our top 5 will be really good.
So the scene is set for the best sidecar cross riders in the world, and as the track in Kramolin was drying up by Sunday, spectators could expect a very quick race. Dutchman Etienne Bax, who enjoyed the best start to the first championship race, and the other favourites slotted in just behind. A great start was also had by Austrians Benjamin Wies and Patrick Schneider. However, they couldn't hold on to their excellent position for long. They were overtaken almost immediately by Daniel Williamson and Robbie Bax, as well as Etienne Bax and Nicolas Mousset. Valentin Giroux slotted into 4th behind 3rd place Wies, with 5th place filled by the home crew of Thomas and Andre Cermak. The remainder of the starters literally flew behind this group of 5. The Dutch crew of Daniel Williamson and Robbie Bax with their traditional 111 plate on their sidecar, again with another excellent performance. A big battle was raging for 3rd place, involving the Czechs Thomas and Andre Cermak. This gave the local crowd plenty to cheer about on the grassy banks here in Kramolin. Well, the crew with the 5 plate on their sidecar were obviously looking to score in front of their home fans. Only 2 pairs finished ahead of them in the standings, Williamson and Bax and Mousset. Track in Kramolin, one of the fastest on the calendar, and the downward journey from the steep hill in particular requires considerable bravery. The Cermak brothers definitely aren't lacking in that, and the Crew, who finished 5th in last year's overall World Championship standings, riding well. Cermak's race on the WSP sidecar with the Mega 2-stroke engine. Close behind the Cermak brothers were the Brits Stuart Brown and Joe Millard, with behind them a large group of pursuers. Well, the Cermak brothers' third place slowly and surely started to shake at the foundations as they were caught by the always fast French-Latvian crew of Valentin Giroux and Elvis Mucinex. As we've seen so many times before, Giroux knows how to put his opponents under pressure. That said, Thomas Cermak didn't want to give this up without a fight. In the end, however, the home pair lost out to Giroux and Mucinex and fell to 4th overall. Giroux created a decent lead in 3rd position, and for a moment Cermak had to look out for attacks from other opponents behind, these being the Dutch pair of Koen Hermans and Kenny van Harlen, who also got ahead of the Czech pair as the race went on, so Hermans was 4th and Cermak now down to 5th. Marvin van Lucien and Harold Kerpenax finished 6th, and Brits Brown and Millard 7th just behind. Their compatriots Brett Wilkinson and Daniel Chamberlain rounding out the top 8. 5th place in a World Championship race is an excellent result for the Czech pair, but the Cermak brothers had to fight hard for it with the Dutch-Latvian pair of Van Lucien and Kerpenax. The first race in Kramolin was won by Daniel Williamson and Robbie Bax by a huge margin of 9 seconds. This was the 2nd single race victory for the pair this season. The points for 2nd place were picked up by Etienne Bax and Nicolas Musset, with Valentin Giroux and Elvis Mucinex coming home in 3rd. 4th place was taken by Hermans and Van Harlen, and in 5th were the Czech brothers Thomas and André Cermak. Here are the standings from 7th to 12th place. Before we head to the main race on Sunday, we'll have a short look back at the veterans race. In Kramolin this time around was a large host of crews and vehicles from a slightly older vintage. They put in a respectable performance on the track and entertained the crowds. In the end, the overall victors were Dietmar Schmidt and Bruno Kallin, who beat the legendary Swiss pair of Hansi Baschold and Daniel Kopli, with bronze going to the Czechs, Josef Petak and Petr Lundak. Well, before we head to the main race, we have managed to catch up with some of the best riders from the first race. Despite only starting from the 2nd row, the Cermak brothers fought hard for a spot on the podium. In the end, they finished 5th.
We are so lucky from the 2nd line. During the first lap on the 3rd position, it's the best what we can do. And then just we follow two best teams, and we follow his speed. But only during the race we a little bit lose the power, and then it's a reason why we finish on the 5th position. But always it's the total result is open, and we would like to do the best for the 2nd heat and hope for the best result. Yeah.
In 3rd place, Valentin Giroux and Elvis Mucinex, and this ambitious French-Latvian crew was quite happy with that result.
We take a quite good start. I think in the 4th or 5th position. The 3 first lap was not so good. I don't get the good feeling with the track. But after some laps, we pass on the 3rd position, and we make a constant race. We come back a little bit end of the race on HN backs. But track here is very fast, and we was not so close to him to try something to pass. But 3rd position, it's good place for the championship.
Etienne Bax and Nicolas Mousset finished up the first race on Sunday in second, and it was the French passenger who described that race from his point of view.
The second place was good. The podium is good. Yeah, the track is really faster. It's not easy for pass, and big stone in the track, and yeah, it's not so bad. We take 2 points more from Giro. That's good for the championship, and I hope for the second hit we win and win the GP.
Out front, and the deserving winner was Daniel Williamson, whose passenger was Robbie Bax, younger brother of Etienne.
Feeling well. It was not so intensive first heat, so yeah, we're ready for second heat for sure.
So that was the best from the first race. As always, the overall winner of the Grand Prix will be decided from the results of both championship races. So let's look at what happened in the second race. This time it was the 82 plate of Etienne Bax and Nicolas Mousset who made the best start into the first corner. Slotting in behind Etienne Bax were Daniel Williamson and Robbie Bax, with third place filled by Valentin Giroud and Elvis Mucinex. Marvin van Lucien and Harold Kerpenax had another good start, and they slotted into fourth with Koen Hermans and Kenny van Harlen just behind. Pile-up then occurred in the depths of the field, but it didn't concern the fastest riders. However, unfortunately, Dutch riders Julian Veldman and Ben van den Boogaard had to withdraw from the race due to injury. Top spot was still occupied by Etienne Bax and Nicolas Mousset, with Daniel Williamson Bax not far behind. They in turn had Valentin Giroud and Elvis Mucinex breathing down their necks in third. Three crews started to pull away from the rest of the field, and we were to witness what was a genuinely spectacular battle between these three best pairs in the world. As in the first race, fourth place was taken by another Dutch pair, Koen Hermans and Kenny van Harlen. From here you get a good view of how rugged this track is in Kramolin. In contrast to the first race, the gaps between the first three pairs didn't get any bigger, making the battle between the leading pairs in the world intense. Sadly for the home fans, a bad start for the Czech Chermak brothers meant they weren't able to attack the top positions and found themselves in the midfield. Etienne Bax has finished the opening race in second place, but in this second race he led the starting field, meaning he was heading towards another overall Sidecarcross Grand Prix victory. The ruling means that in the case of a tiebreaker, when the riders have the same number of points, it's the one who finishes in the better position in the second race that goes through. Every position was then tightly fought over, even in the middle of the field. A tough battle took place between Andreas Klosch and Andy Bergler. Chermak's a short distance behind these two. This is probably the key moment in the fight for victory. Daniel Williamson was in contact with Etienne Bax, but his sidecar got jammed and he lost a few metres. In the end, this essentially decided this marvellous battle. First time in this race, Etienne Bax and Nicolas Mousset had forged a slight lead, and they knew just how to manage this advantage. World Sidecarcross is currently incredibly even, and every detail counts. So the current leader of the championship standings headed towards further increasing his lead in the overall table. The promising Koen Hermans met his target of finishing no lower than 5th. Hermans, together with Kenny van Harlen, finished 4th twice, taking a valuable 36 championship points from Kramolin. 1 6th and 1 5th are the good results achieved by Belgium-Latvian pair Marvin van Lucien and Harold Kerpenax. 28 points are heading towards the United Kingdom thanks to Brett Wilkinson and Daniel Chamberlain in their overall 6th place in Kramolin. But out front, it was Etienne Bax who crossed the finishing line first in the 2nd race on Sunday. The 28-year-old rider's victory meant overall triumph in the Czech Republic. Daniel Williamson came home in 2nd and Valentin Giroux in 3rd, meaning it was some all too familiar faces on the podium. Valentin Giroux and Elvis Musenax couldn't beat either of the Dutchmen here in the Czech Republic, but the pair still put in a good shift.
We try to follow to Daniel. Daniel's at the middle of the pack, a little bit make some small mistake, and we can't a little bit pass. But if he was go shorter to Daniel, yeah, we can not get that. We're looking forwards, and next race is in the France, and there is different crowd, and I think we can get a little bit better there.
Daniel Williamson, who finished 2nd overall, was enthusiastic about the races in Kramolin.
Second race was exactly like racing should be. It was hard, it was fast, it was battling.
And what was the key moment from the point of view of overall victor Etienne Bax?
Everything everything is about the start. If you have we see it yesterday on the times. It's like with 4 or 5 people in 1 second we're riding, so you cannot make the difference on the track. So the start is the most important. The first race we thought that we had whole shot and we didn't. And second race we had whole shot, and yeah, it's very difficult for somebody to pass us then, and for us the same.
After 3 events in the World Championship, the table is led by Etienne Bax and Nicolas Musset. They are 10 points ahead of 2nd place Giroux and Musenax. Daniel Williamson and Robbie Bax jump into 3rd place. However, the schedule includes another 11 Sidecarcross Grand Prix, so it's still too early to draw any conclusions. Looking at the crew's reactions, the races in Kramolin were definitely a success. The next race takes place in Chaumont, France, in slightly less than 3 weeks' time. So that's all from the Czech Republic. Thank you for your attention, and we'll see you soon.
Some men see a path that was laid out before them and ask why. I dream of a path that never was and ask why not. We never stop, so going when you finish, and even when we